What is up, Finn fans? Yeah, if you see me like this, you already know. Straight from the phone, we had some breaking news that happened within the hour. So I guess it's not really breaking news, but hey, to me it's breaking news of sitting at work. So it's breaking news. If you can tell from the title, we already have our first opt-out from the season, and the Dolphins also made another move on the season. So I'm going to talk about the opt-out first. Allen Hurns decides he thinks it's in his best interest to opt out of the 2020 season. This is what he had to say. Definitely wasn't an easy decision, but I decided to opt out of the 2020 season to do what's best for my family, and I especially with the baby boy on the way. I will continue to support my team, my brothers across the league wholeheartedly, and wish them the best going forward this season. All love. 100% Allen Hurns. I'm pretty sure all of us fans and all of your teammates support you 1,000% in this decision. Me being somebody who has a baby on the way as well, if I was in his position, it'd be a very tough decision for me to make on whether I want to potentially bring this type of whatever back to my family. So for him to opt out for this season is wholeheartedly understandable, and we wish him the best of luck. Hopefully everything goes great, and we'll see you in 2021, maybe. I'll talk about that in a second. Brian Flores comes out. He also says, I understand and completely support Allen's decisions. It wasn't an easy choice, and I know he put a lot of thought into it. He had conversations with the people close to him and did what he felt was best for him and his family. I respect the process he went through and how he came to this decision. I wish him all the best, and I look forward to working with him next year. Now, again, when it came to this season, and you guys know I talked about the wide receivers, I talked about all that stuff, I honestly thought if Kirk Merritt and some of these guys that are on the boundary to make the roster were doing equally or as good as him, I honestly thought he was going to be cut because the Miami Dolphins can save a lot of money by cutting him. Now, with him opting out, his contract is essentially going to be pushed to 2021. That's essentially what happens with the opt-outs. Their contract essentially is just pushed to the next year. So instead of him having his last year with the Dolphins in 2021, it is now his last year with the Dolphins in 2022. Now, this move of him opting out is huge for the guys on the bottom tier of the wide receivers list. That's someone like Kirk Merritt, Matt Cole, Isaiah Ford, some of these other guys that are, on the bottom tier. I honestly think that him opting out really opens up the window. You guys know, or door, however you want to say it. It's door, Doug. I'm stupid. Don't listen to me. You guys know already, I think Kirk Merritt and Matt Cole were going to make the roster before Allen Hurns opted out. But I think this does help guys like Isaiah Ford and some of the other unknown guys that are fighting to make the roster on this deep wide receiver position. A lot of people want to talk about Jakeem Grant being a cap casualty or being cut. I think his contract is there's too much guaranteed money for him to be cut. He will be on the team this year. Speaking of cap, right? Allen Hurns this year, again, now it's going to be next year because he opted out. It's going to be pushed a year. Was due to make $2.833 million. And if they cut him, a dead cap of $866,000. Again, that's a little less than $2 million in a cap savings. And if, say this, he didn't opt out and the Dolphins decided to cut him next year, he was due $3.608 million next year with a dead cap of $433,000. So again, it doesn't really matter with this year or next year and the year after, being that he opted out. If they cut him, they save a big chunk, a couple million, right? So if you look at it, he's due about $1.3 million in guaranteed money over the next 2 years. So that's the thing we got to think about with Allen Hurns. But as of right now, Allen Hurns has opted out. He has his family, his unborn baby's thoughts first when it comes to this, and I respect it and I appreciate it. So Allen Hurns, we will see you next year in training camp. Again, I think it'll be the same situation where he'll come in and he'll do his thing. And if he's good, if he plays like he did that 1 year with the Jags where he had 1,000 yards, then he's on the team. It's not a big fat contract, $2 million. It's not bad. But again, he's going to be competing next year. But Allen Hurns, we respect that. Now, there's some other news that happened today, and there's some other news that happened in a few days over the weekend that I will be talking about. The big news, and again, you guys can see it in the title, the Miami Dolphins have waived Cordrea Tankersley. He was drafted to the Miami Dolphins in 2017 with the 3rd round pick. He had a very promising rookie year. Tears his ACL, and for about a year and a half, he was not able to make it on the field. And the Miami Dolphins, he was on the reserve list, which I will talk about in a second. Came off the reserve list, and then they waived him. They also waived long snapper Rex Sanera, I think that's how you say his name, Sanera, who they brought in when Blake Ferguson went on the list just for, you know, snaps and stuff like that. But the fact that Blake Ferguson is now off the reserve list, they are releasing long snapper Rex. I feel bad for Cordrea Tankersley. Like I said, his rookie year in 2017, when he was on the field, he showed a ton of promise. He was one of the guys. Him and Lippett were like really doing their thing, showing a ton of promise, being like, hey, we might have something here. And unfortunately, he tears his ACL. And unfortunately, you know, we haven't seen him in over a year and a half. And the NFL is what have you done for me lately? And unfortunately, he was waived. He will definitely be picked up by another team in a heartbeat. I bet you while I'm recording this or while you watching this, he's already been claimed off of waivers by another team. Speaking of being claimed off of waivers, the Miami Dolphins were awarded cornerback Picasso Nelson Jr. Love the name, Picasso. You don't really see a lot of Picassos nowadays. Cut his ear off. I think that's Picasso. He cut his ear off. He was an undrafted free agent that signed with the Jaguars last year, 2019, and he was waived off the Colts, and the Miami Dolphins pick him up. Brian Flores keeps kicking tires on these cornerbacks. I don't know why. I don't know what his deal is. He's not really informing us on why he wants so many corners on the team. Does it have to do with Xavier Howard? Not really, because again, this is an undrafted guy who isn't even anywhere near the talent of Nick Needham or of Noah Igbenogany, but I don't know why he keeps going for corners, but that is an interesting thing. But again, Miami Dolphins claim him off of waivers. So they claim him off of waivers, and then Tankersley and Sanera are gone. So that is essentially the news that happened today. And yeah, that's what I got for you today. Also, real quick, before I end this video and do my normal spiel, I want to talk about the reserve list. I noticed that some people, when they, you know, like Jerome Baker went on the reserve list and then he was off, and Blake Ferguson went on the reserve list, he came off. Malcolm Perry is right now on the reserve list. You know, he donated some of his blood because of the antibodies because he already had corona, and now he doesn't, but now he's back on the reserve list. A lot of people are like, when you hear a player goes on the reserve list, get like Eric Flowers moved to the reserve list, are scared. Like, oh my God, they're on the reserve list, you know, blah, blah, blah. Because when Jerome Baker went on the reserve list, he even came out with a tweet and was like, look, I don't have it. I appreciate you guys coming out and giving me support, but I don't have it. I don't have it. The reserve list is not, it's not only because you tested positive. I would say a good 10% of the people that are on the reserve list tested positive. It's mostly because you're in contact or vicinity of somebody who has tested positive. To get off of the reserve list, you have to have 2 negative tests in a row. So if you notice with Blake Ferguson, with Jerome Baker, with a lot of these guys, they get put on the reserve list and literally 2 days later, they come off of the reserve list because 2 days in a row, they test negative. So I just want to give you guys a little quick update of exactly what the reserve list is and how it works. It doesn't mean you tested positive. It doesn't mean, it just means you're in vicinity of it. Eric Flowers went on the reserve list, I think it was yesterday. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. I think it was Sunday. Don't be surprised if he comes off the reserve list tomorrow. Again, he has to have 2 negative tests. Same thing with Malcolm Perry. He went on the reserve list yesterday. Don't be surprised if he comes off tomorrow. It's just, it's precautionary. And I understand it and I respect it. But that's the video, guys. Let me know. Comment below. I'm really interested in what you guys think about Allen Hurns opting out. I know on Twitter, which be sure to follow me on Twitter, because when this news breaks, I tweet it out first before I can come home and make a video. But I know that you guys are like, hey, we're going to cut him anyway. We'll see. I don't necessarily think he was going to get cut. Again, what I kept saying was, if the younger undrafted guys play equally as good as him, I think he will be a cap casualty. But that doesn't mean that he could have made the roster. He could have been playing better. So comment below. I'm interested in what you guys have to say about Allen Hurns opting out. Which wide receivers do you think is going to boost them to making it? the waiving of Cordrea Tankersley. I'm really interested in what you guys have to say about that. But other than that, that's the video. Like I said, if news breaks, I will get you guys the video. This is from the phone, so you don't get the fancy updates and edits and all that stuff. But I do want to get you the news as soon as I possibly can. And being that I'm at work till 5 o'clock every day, sometimes it has to be at this time. But be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't yet. Like I said, news breaks, I give you videos. I have videos planned. I'm going to be tweeting out, seeing which ones you guys are interested in. I'm also going to put it in the community. So look out for that, which ones are going to be first and stuff. But like I said, stuff comes out of camp, all that stuff, you're going to get a video from me. But be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the thumbs up. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. But like usual, stay classy and fins up.